everyone, and welcome back to a new video with me just talking and not really much video. Well, there will be a video. Today we're going to talk about the much anticipated subject of Pokemon X and Y. Since my last two videos were about Pokemon, and it's been a while since I've done another video, I figured I might as well talk about the game that's been on everyone's mind. So, let's start off by watching the very first video that Nintendo released for this game. Now here we see Pikachu, and as everyone knows, yes, this is France, and the game is being released worldwide, which is awesome. I can't wait to play this game and not have to find videos of people playing the Japanese version on YouTube before I get to play this game. Now, got the new routes here and new characters. Very much looking forward to the idea of customization. And, of course, there's the 3 starter Pokemon. I have already decided which Pokemon I personally am going to choose. I'm going to choose Finnegan. It's been a while since since there's been a fire type that I've really been interested in. And in fact, really, I think this is the first fire type starter that I'm really interested in. I've usually either chosen the grass or the water starters. And loving the idea of seeing Pikachu and all the other Pokemon in this, along with the older Pokemon. That was one thing I didn't really like about Black and White, was that you only get the older Pokemon. Speaking of the newer Pokemon, loving the deer. I can't remember its name right off the top of my head, but because of that one, I've already decided I'm going to get Pokemon X. Obviously, that very last part tortured me! Oh my gosh, that was such torture! Yes, it's coming out in October of 2013, but what day? Of course, they released it at E3 last month, that it's going to be coming out October 12th. Thank you! Thank you for ending the torture! So, let's go ahead and look at some of the Pokemon that they released. They've announced quite a few since the very first video brought out. Again, we've got the 3 starters, Fennekin, Froakie, and Chespin. And really, Fennekin seems like the only Pokemon that I'm interested in, period. I'll probably play through every single game with Fennekin. I've never really been one for frogs. I mean, they're okay, but I've got nothing against frogs. They've just never really been my favorite animal. And Chespin, yeah, it's cute. Yeah, it's a grass type, but Fennekin's just plain adorable. And yes, I know there have been a lot of people saying, oh, Fennekin's just a copy off of Vulpix. There have been a lot of other Pokemon that have been sort of based off of others. Even if it's not based off of it, they still look like them. Alright, so the new legendary Pokemon, Xerneas and Yveltal. Obviously, like I said before, I am planning on getting Pokemon X so that I can get Xerneas. There might be an option later on to get Yveltal. Sometimes the games let you get the other legendaries later on. Other times you have to cheat it in. But I'm really hoping they don't pull that dick move of, oh hey, this Pokemon's on the cartridge, but we're going to give you the other one. That would be really lame. I can totally see that happening in some point in the future, because, that's just... Anyway, these two Pokemon were the last two that were released, Litleo and Flabebe. Definitely looking forward to these two. I think Litleo's adorable. And I've already got a few nicknames in mind for it. Leomon, maybe, and maybe even Simba. Go a little Disney old school there. And Flabebe's interesting, too. I might just name her Flora, not because of the flower, but because she's a fairy on a flower. So Flora, Fairy of Nature from the Winx Club. Actually sticking to my original YouTube name for a little bit there. And then we could see some of their gameplay screenshots there. The two of them battling together. I'm really hoping that Flabebe that will be able to change the color of its flower. Maybe shiny flower change, but or maybe I'm hoping that it would be more like something with deerling, where the flower changes depending on the season, or maybe the area that you're in. We'll see. I'm definitely hoping it evolves. It's cute enough that it probably will. Then we have Noivern and Talonflame. Now, a lot of people are speculating, quote, speculating, that Talonflame is going to be evolved from Fletchling. Oh, hey look, an evolved form of the recently announced Fletchling. I have seen plenty of videos that were uploaded long after they announced Talonflame of people speculating its evolution. It's official. It does evolve from Talonflame. People are smart. And the other one, Noivern. Now, its look is actually kind of familiar to me. I'm kind of thinking Noivern might be an evolution of Woobat and Swoobat. It's just speculation, but I can kind of see that happening. It is kind of batty. Its wings are very similar to a bat, so I can see it being an evolution. Which would be interesting, because we'd be getting evolutions of Pokemon from Black and White. And I'm hoping that they do evolve the Black and White characters and give them pre-evolutions, and not just Pokemon from the original generations. Clauncher and Skrelp, 2 new water types. Now, Clauncher, I could see being a bit more original than Skrelp. Skrelp is kind of reminds me of Horsey. Obviously, it's cute, and I think it's supposed to be a shrimp, but it just looks a lot more like a seahorse to me. But Clauncher, a lot of people are saying it's a crab. It's supposed to be based off of Krabby. Not really. It doesn't look much like Krabby. B, it's a lobster, not a crab. They are different. Skrelp at least has the same shape as Horsey. Clauncher, not so much. Now they are in battle. It looks like Skrelp might be a poison type. It's got this whole dark feeling to it. It's like it might be a poison water type. It's seen here using Sludge Bomb, which is a poison move. And then it says right there, a poison Pokemon, so it does look like it might be a poison type. Crabhammer. So that one might be pure water type. And then we get to the 4 Pokemon that were announced right after the game's release. Let's start with these 2. Helioptile and Fletchling. Not really much to say about Helioptile. Obviously, it's supposed to be a lizard, and I could see maybe the Pokedex entry saying something about its tail getting cut off, because a lot of lizards have that ability. Their tails get cut off and they grow back, much like a starfish's arms. I don't think I'll be too interested in Helioptile. Fletchling, obviously, a lot of people are going to want to catch it because it's the early bird type, and early bird types are usually worthwhile catching, especially if you want to use Fly later on in the game. Plus, it's the first flying type that you get early in the game that has 2 types. Not sure if it's going to be a fire type at the beginning, but it does evolve into a flying fire type, and that's the first time that's happened in any of the games. All of the other flying types have just been flying types, unless you want to say, they're flying in normal types, but even then, no specific type other than flying. So, I like that they've got the fire type mixed in with that. Although, it's kind of going to give me an overpowered fire type team, catching 2 fire types right off the bat. And then there's these 2, Pancham and Gogoat. I'm going to get into Gogoat last here, so let's go with Pancham first. A lot of people are excited about the fact that it's a panda, and yeah, it's cute. I might get it. It's a fighting type that you get early in, and you don't get a whole lot of fighting types early in. I can pretty much guarantee this thing's going to evolve. It's too cute not to evolve. The vast majority of the cutesy Pokemon evolve. So, probably looking forward to evolving that. It's supposed to be a fighting type. I'm kind of assuming it's going to be a fighting dark type if it has another type. But I think it'd be interesting to have a fighting grass type. You know, it's got the grass, it's got the leaf in its mouth, kind of like how Trico had the twig in his mouth in the anime. But if it has another type, I'm pretty sure it's going to be dark type. But a grass type would be fun too. And then there's Go-Goat. This Pokemon is going to be fun. You get to ride this thing. You get to go into... It's speculated that it might just be the main city, but you can ride this thing. It is literally called the Riding Pokemon. Although, it has also been revealed that it's not the only Pokemon that you can ride on. In fact, you can ride on a Rhyhorn. If you can still ride on it when it evolves, you can ride on a Rhydon. Heh. Heh heh. Heh heh. That was bad. Anyway, we get down here and we can see some of the attacks. There is nothing written down here. That's kind of sad. Guess it's just supposed to be a pose? I don't know. Then Hornleech. That's going to be nice because it's the first Pokemon after Sawsbuck that can actually use that attack. So it'll be nice to have that attack be not so exclusive. And then Sylveon. I am already prepared for this thing. I recently went through and finished evolving all my Eevee on my Pokemon Platinum game, which are now brought over to my Black and White game, or Black. And I have my 8th Eevee ready to go, so if I can pull it up real quick before they get the Eevee in the other game, I'll already have it, and I'll be able to evolve it into Sylveon as soon as possible. Very excited about that, because I love having all the evolutions. It's fun to collect them all. And now that we've got an 8th one, I have another one to collect. Very excited about Sylveon. And then there's a mysterious new Pokemon. It's already been pretty much revealed in the trailer for the new movie that this is a form change from Mewtwo. Although, I have to wonder how it gets this form change. Maybe you have to put it up against a Genesect in order to get the form change or something? Kind of weird. Although, Nintendo keeps refusing its relationship to Mewtwo, which I don't get, because they've already released a trailer of the movie with Mewtwo turning into this new form, so really? So when they were asked that at E3, they denied any connection to the Pokemon. So that's going to be a bit interesting to see how it happens. Some sort of connection with Mewtwo. Yeah, it's a form change. That's pretty obvious at this point. Thank you for not stating the obvious, Nintendo. And then we get into the last Pokemon that have been revealed. Scatterbug, Spupa, and Vivillon. Now, every game has them. The bug types that you can get early on that are okay for maybe the first 2, maybe 3 gyms, and then they're not that great later on. But, obviously, got the larva, the cocoon, and the butterfly. And so, judging by the pattern thus far, Scatterbug will probably evolve into Spupa at level 7, and then Spupa will evolve into Vivillon at level 10. And considering it looks similar to Butterfree and Beautifly, I'm going to assume it's going to learn Psychic. Just saying. Because those two also were able to learn that attack. And that's all of the Pokemon that have been released. So, I know this video is getting pretty long, but just bear with me, because there's a lot to go over. Story time. Kalos region. I've actually got a few theories about this. No, I've got theories about the characters. This isn't really a whole lot. Kind of like this. You get to see... I kind of wish you could zoom in on this so you could see the characters in there aside from the main male character. Not really a whole lot there. Vanaville Town. So, you meet, it says right here, before you're leaving, your neighbor will be eager to meet you, plus you'll meet the family Rhyhorn who's resting on his pet in your front yard. So clearly, your family has a Rhyhorn as a pet. And a cute little beach ball there. Kawaii! Yeah, I could just imagine Rhyhorn trying to play with that. Oh, this is a fun ball! I'm gonna bounce this around! Oh, nuts! I just popped it with my horn. And a bit more of the town. Not really a whole lot there. Santaloon City. This is the first city that you go to after leaving your hometown. And this is also the location of the first gym, which doesn't really happen a whole lot. Usually there's another city you go to in between the starter town and Santaloon City. So they might include another city in between, and they might just take you straight to the gym. So we have Santaloon City. Here is Alexa. She is the older... Yeah, she's the older sister of Viola, the gym leader. And apparently she leads you to the gym. Also, looks like you get your roller skates in the city, which will be nice. My guess is they're going to be like the running shoes or the bike. And then you can roller skate all around the place. And then Alexa, get to see her in the game. Santaloon City Gym. Apparently this place is going to be a bug-type gym, which I thought was really interesting, considering I had already decided that I wanted Fennekin for my starter Pokemon, so that's going to be a nice advantage, using a fire-type Pokemon at a bug-type gym. And that's about all they've got for the town, so not really a whole lot there. We already looked at the Pokemon characters. Now, I've actually got a few theories about these characters, so... First off, the hero and heroine. First, we've got the male character, and then the female character. And their names are announced later on, further down the page. And we've got different ways that you can customize the characters right off the bat. You can choose your skin and hair tone, light skin and blonde hair, fair skin and brown hair, and dark skin and black hair. And then there's your character standing in front of the mirror. Then you can run around. And that's about all they've got shown in there. Then we get down to the friends. This is where things get interesting. So, first friend is Shauna, an energetic girl who is eager to discover her own dreams. She's also genuinely curious about her friend's progress in travel. So it looks to see her here meeting up with you and your rival at the same time. So she'll be one of the first characters that you meet, aside from most likely your mother. Or father? Ha! Father. Yeah, right. May's the only one with a father, and I'm pretty sure she'll be the only one with a father. Forever. And it looks like you get to pick your own nickname here too, which will be fun. Pokemon hasn't let you pick a nickname before. The only games I've ever really seen that lets you pick a nickname are the Devil Survivor games, and I believe the first two Persona games, which were the only two things I really liked about those games. Didn't get much better till Gen 3. Anyway, back to Pokemon. Then you've got Tierno. He's got a little Vanillite on his shirt. He's a dance major, or plans to be a dance major. And when he watches the battle, he comes up with a new dance routine for him. About all for him. I'm expecting him to be kind of the comic relief character. Then there's Trevor, who's kind of the nerd. He wants to complete his entire Pokedex. And it says that he's going to meet up with you later on and compare the Pokedex, so I'm assuming he's probably going to have prizes for you too, like in the first gens when you would meet Professor Oak's aides and they would be like, oh hey, have you caught this many Pokemon yet? Oh, here's a prize for you. Oh hey, have you caught this many Pokemon yet? Here's another prize for you. So that's probably going to be Trevor's role, unless he gives you the Pokedex. If he doesn't give you any prizes, then the Pokedex is really all he's good for. Now, Serena or Callum, however you want to say it. I would just say Callum. Rolls off the tongue better. Serena is the female main character's name, and Callum is the male main character. And then there's the gym leaders. Viola, gym leader of Santaloon City. She's the bug-type trainer. She's also a photographer. I would not be surprised if there was a filler episode later on in the series, not early in the series, but maybe later on in the anime, where Viola comes back and maybe a cameo from Alicia, Pokemon Black and White, a model, photographer, that kind of such. Be really interested if they made a new Pokemon Snap game where you get to play as either Viola or Todd. That would be nice, but highly doubtful. And that's all the characters. Now for my fan theory. Take a look around this table. How many trainers do you see? 5. How many starter Pokemon are there? Gee, same amount as all the other games. Only 3. So, here's the question. How do you split 3 Pokemon amongst 5 trainers? You get one of them, obviously, and your rival gets one, obviously. It's got to be the one opposite of the one that you pick. So what about the other 3? One of them, my theory is that one of them gets the remaining Pokemon, and then the other 2 have to go catch them. My theory is that depending on which character you choose, you see in one of the videos that she's following you as the male main character as Callum. So Shauna is following Callum through the forest. My theory is that one of the boys will get the third starter Pokemon, and then the other one will follow Selena to the forest, and they will show you how to catch a Pokemon. Very similar to the way that you were taught how to catch Pokemon in the Hoenn games with Willie, who went to see Norman and asked him to help him catch Pokemon, and then you watch Willie catch his Ralts. I'm going to assume it's probably the same kind of concept. That's my fan theory anyway. Now, there's some new stuff specifically for this game, aside from the new Pokemon and customization. In fact, this is actually a hint, I believe, to different kinds of customization. The PSS, short for Player Search System. Now, if you look at all the avatars in here, you see some avatars that look similar to the main characters that you've already seen, and others that look completely different. Now, this may seem like just randomization, but if you look closely, some of the accessories are actually similar to the accessories that you have at the beginning. Now, take a look here. You've got the basic style for Callum and the basic style for Serena. And basically the reason I'm pointing this out is because, yeah, you've got the basic styles there. Then if you come over here, it's almost exactly the same as Serena over here, except the accessory on the hat is different. Up here, she's got the sunglasses, and over here, she doesn't have the sunglasses. She's actually got what looks like a little flower on her head. And then if you look closer at the other ones, there's another character who has the same hat as Serena, but her glasses are different color. They're white instead of yellow. And then you've got another boy over here with the same hat and glasses as Callum, and so on and so forth. This suggests to me that there will be a lot more customization in the future. My guess is that you get the starter customization at the very beginning, and then later on down the road you can have the option of changing your hair color and your accessories and your outfit and so on and so forth. And the way I see it, this is actually very fitting. The game obviously takes place in France, as you see in the Eiffel Tower in many of the videos, and at E3 they let it slip, but that it would be in France. And considering the fact that Paris is the fashion epicenter of the world, it's actually very fitting that they would bring that out in a Paris-style setting. And I'm hoping for more customizations later on. Now we have the fairy type. Obviously Sylveon and Flabébé are both fairy types, and they're changing the types of other Pokemon as well. You've got Gardevoir, you've got Meryl, and you've got Jigglypuff, which have been announced as changing their types to fairy types. Jigglypuff is normal fairy, Gardevoir is psychic fairy, and Meryl is water fairy. Now, I have to wonder if Gallade will also be a fairy type. Now, it's possible that it could be a fairy type from Kirlia, or even straight from the Ralts. But it's also possible that it only becomes a fairy type if it becomes a Gardevoir. Let me know in the comment section below what you think. If you think it's just for Gardevoir, or maybe some of the lower levels as well. Then fairy type matchups. This is gonna rock. You can actually use fairy types against dragon types. However, it's not revealed yet what type the fairy type is weak to. My guess is that it's going to at least be weak against dark types. And it's also possible that the dark type might be weak to fairy, just, most fairies are considered light, even though folklore has them as dark creatures. But nowadays, when we think of fairies, we think of light creatures. So I can kind of see fairy types being strong against dark types, and vice versa. Horde encounters. Now this is going to be interesting. We've got 5 wild Pokemon that all appear at once to face your one Pokemon. That's right. One Pokemon against 5 others. So attacks that can hit more than one Pokemon at a time, going to be very useful. I also noticed this a while back. You got Tauros, Miltank, and Tauros. Now, they have revealed that you can find more than just one type of Pokemon in the Horde encounters, but I have to wonder if maybe there's some kind of rhythm to it. Is it just Pokemon of the same type? Is it just Pokemon of the same species? Or is it any Pokemon in general? Like maybe you could get Tauros plus Axew plus Vulpix plus Gardevoir plus all these other different types. That's another thing I'm curious about. And then there's the Sky Battle. I have to wonder how this is going to work if you hack the game. If you use the action replay to change your Pokemon's ability to, say, levitate. Change it to levitate, then what about Pokemon like Diglett? Will we finally see its bottom? Highly doubtful, but it's worth considering. And then there's Pokemon Ami, which is basically Nintendogs with Pokemon. Now, I'm actually kind of looking forward to this, because this is the first time where you can actually be a Pokemon breeder without just breeding. You finally put all that stuff you learned from Brock to good use. You get to actually take care of your Pokemon rather than just dump them off with the daycare man. So this is going to be fun. Although when I think of Nintendogs, I actually think of its earlier form. I think of Tamagotchi, to be honest with you. I think of Tamagotchi or some of the earlier stuff, like the little Digivices that you used to have for Digimon. That's kind of what I think of. Basically, it's the same thing. You feed them, you take care of them, you play with them, and probably have to wind up cleaning up their poop too. And that's about all of that. I could go into the basics and some of the other stuff, but everyone knows about basics. Everyone knows how you get your first starter Pokemon and how to have a Pokemon battle, how to bring your Pokemon's level up, and catching, and Pokedex, and types, and evolving, and all that other stuff. Everyone knows that stuff. So, I think I'm going to just end the video here. Hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you look forward to Pokemon X and Y as much as I am.